NCIS-site for you to access at a later date. If there's questions, please use the chat, and Sheena will be monitoring that for us, as well as at the end, there'll be an opportunity for you to provide feedback. Have your smartphone ready if you could with your camera, as where there will be a Menti at the very end for you to complete. So Mary is just going to get us started with our land acknowledgement.
The Creator gifted us with this land that we are blessed to share and care for together. The Calgary Catholic School District acknowledges that the land we gather on, Mohkinstsis, is the ancestral territory of the Siksika Sitapi, the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, and Amskapi Piikani. We acknowledge all the Treaty 7 signatories, including the Tsuut'ina people, as well as the Ayarhe Nakota Nations, Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley, now known as Goodstoney. This land is also the home of Métis Nation Region 3 and all others who call this place home.
Thank you, Mary. Kim, if you could get us started with our prayer.
Thanks, Lynn. If we could all center ourselves in the presence of our Lord. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, thank you for the rest and relaxation we enjoyed over the summer. Today we pray for our children as they begin their new school year. Bless them with joy at seeing friends, excitement at new experiences, and a love of learning. Watch over all who learn, replacing fear with joy, anxiety with peace, and tiredness with energy. Grant teachers wisdom, patience, and joy in serving their students. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. St. Paul, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Kim. So today we're going to be going over in the next hour. We have a lot of information to share. So we're really grateful for you being here with us. Just some key messages and refreshers. Reminder, we know we've got new people in positions, new to school. Others that are here have been involved quite a bit. So we have a range of people that we're wanting to make sure everybody has the same information. We have an implementation roadmap to share with you, some details around what this year is going to look like to support new curriculum implementation, some first steps for resources and PG opportunities, as well as looking at a little bit of an overview of what next week is going to look like for teachers. So I'm not sure if Brian was able to join us. Brian, are you on the meeting? All right, so we've been chatting and did want to acknowledge the conversations we're having both with Brian and John and Helmut to help guide and support this process for moving forward. So really appreciate their input and guidance. But the Power of 5 has been revised. You'll see the Power of 5, those key messages that we're sharing that we hope you'll continue to share it in your schools. And that is, we've added one on there. Those of you that are involved last year, you will notice it's an important one, but really looking at we are professionals, like we've got this. And so the work of teaching and learning does involve change and does involve us looking to curriculum and guidance around what is our responsibility and role. But within that, we also have the autonomy and some flexibility around the work that we do as professionals. That it is mandated. We have specific mandated that has been put forward for this year. So 4 to 6 English language, arts and literature, math as well in 4 and 6, K to 3 science, K to 3 French immersion language, arts and literature. And it will be optional if you have teachers teaching in a 4-3 combined grade. They may wish to pilot or optionally implement the grade 4 science with the 4-3, as well as the 4 to 6 French immersion language, arts and literature, which we know we had many of our French immersion teachers pilot that curriculum last year. We want to also remind our teachers that some of the content is the same. We are noticing as we're moving up into the grades, there are more changes, but a lot is still the same. Like, so really the point is to start with what you know or you have and grow as you go. Assessment is still outcomes based. And professional growth opportunities, we're here to help you. You're not bothering us. So please do reach out if you have a quick question. We can answer it right away. We'd love to do that. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lynn Leslie, and I'm the supervisor of the new curriculum as well as the elementary core this year. And we really are, you're not bothering us at all. I'm just an email or a phone call away. So the +1 we added on is resources. We had a lot of questions last year around sustainability, and really looking to, as developers and publishers are starting to bring out resources, there's lots to sort of pick and choose and vet, but we are looking around what is curricularly aligned, developmentally appropriate, as well as engaging for students, inclusive, as well as, of course, sustainable. So you will recognize this curriculum architecture where we last year we implemented the K-3 English Language Arts and Literature and Math, the K-6 Physical Education and Wellness, as well as the K-6 PhilAl. So we start with that big idea, those organizing ideas or concepts, and then we move into more of a focused guiding question, the learning outcome, and then the cusps, that the knowledge, understanding, skills, and procedures that kids will understand, know, and do in order to sort of give evidence of the learning outcome. And then embedded with all of it, we're always looking at those literacy and numeracy progressions from year to year, or developmental, appropriateness to the next steps of learning, as well as competencies for 21st century learning. Alberta Education has provided this timeline document for us. It was updated in March 2023, and it's important to note that we suspect there will be another update coming, but for now, this is what we're working from. And so you can see that in March to September has been very busy on a provincial front. They've been working through updates to the new Learn Alberta site, which is now can be accessed through curriculum.learnalberta.ca. And also connecting with, they procured the services of Alberta regional consortiums across Alberta, and they have been developing resources, including planners, slides, many different resources for teachers as well. In April, it was when we heard about the funding that we would be receiving for K-6 schools to support professional development. We received $1.05 million, and for print and digital resources, we received $1.36 million. And this is based on an $800 per student teacher count to support professional development. And then from a resource perspective, it was based on $45 per student count. Believe it or not, with 98 schools, it doesn't go a long way, but certainly we're going to stretch it as best as we can. September, here we are now, and we're looking at the curriculum that is mandated, like I had indicated before. And then finally, we don't know what's happening for September 2024. We do know that we've heard that the 4-6 science will be coming in and the 4-6 French immersion language arts and literature, but we have not heard about social studies or fine arts. So we will update you as we hear information. So first off, March to September, those provincial sort of big resources and development that have been happening. As you can see, and if you've been involved in new curriculum last year, this will be very familiar to you. In May, we provided an optional PD, and then we've been sharing information out through various ways on how do we get started for September with this new curriculum, given we had such a short timeline to get information and opportunities out to schools. But we have created a Getting Started September 2023 top 3, because it's really important that as school leaders, your K-3 teachers will be somewhat familiar with the new Learn Alberta site, with the ARPDC, as well as with the new curriculum site. But your 4-6 teachers, if they didn't teach Pew, they may not be that familiar. So they could need a bit more guidance and you pointing them in the right direction as far as where they can get started with sort of those key resources, those key sort of navigations that it will be important that they understand. So for example, the new Learn Alberta site, this is what it looks like whenever teachers log into this. And you can, on one of the areas, you can see this is where the curriculum is identified. And there's various printing options within that part of the dashboard. You can explore resources from different ways by grade, subject, language, type. There's a curriculum implementation information hub, which is more around professional development, videos on how to navigate Learn Alberta, sort of subject getting started, curriculum guidance, as well as the recent announcements. And sometimes we will hear information at the same time that it's published on this site. So we encourage frequently looking back to this site as well. So here's an example of, for example, if you have a 3-4 combined teacher, they may find it easier to look at, now that we have grade 3 curriculum implemented, the grade 3-4 teacher might find it helpful to see curriculum, those progression from grade to grade, from planning perspective. And so there's a way to print the curriculum out in this way. So the first step is, of course, they would log on to the Learn Alberta site. They would pick curriculum, browse by subject. It's the little printer I want to make the point of. It's kind of hidden. So you want to make sure you select the printer, because then that's where they can print various different ways, like a 3-4 combined, just the organizing ideas, just the guiding questions. And so different ways that they can print out the curriculum to make it a little less overwhelming. For the architecture, when we look at learning outcome, when they select the learning outcome from that curriculum viewer, there's a little eye, and that's what I want to bring your attention to. So the little eye brings forward a wealth of sort of deeper dive into the cusps, what resources the Alberta Education may have connected to that outcome, as well as the progressions and competencies to sort of guide planning and assessment as they move forward. As a big reminder, I know we did a lot of this work last year, but we really want to keep teachers out of the weeds at first, really focusing in on those learning outcomes, because at the end of the day, that is what must be assessed and reported on. They're subject specific, and we know that the cuts are quite, there can be a lot of them, but just coming back to those learning outcomes and thinking about what do I need to explain to students, teach students, and then what skills and procedures do they need to show us as evidence toward the learning outcome and the extent to which a student has been able to achieve that learning outcome. So the other important point or trick when you are on Learn Alberta is that teachers need to make sure they've logged in. That's one of the top 3. They need to get a teacher account, especially the 4 to 6s. If they've not gotten a teacher account, they'll see this red lock button, which means those resources have been locked and they can't access them. So if they're getting the red lock, it's because they're not signed into their account. Now, this is something new this year. Alberta Education has connected the work of the Alberta Regional Consortium right in the Curriculum Implementation Hub. So now if teachers forget or you forget what else is available or where you find that, it's connected right in the front page of the Curriculum Implementation Information Hub. This is what it looks like when you get to the ARPDC hub. Again, the new curriculum information is kind of hidden. So you can get it through the menu or through this hyperlink, which is in blue, as well as if you're interested or your teachers are interested in PD sessions. I recommend you select the region of all, because then you have access to everything that's being offered across the province, which is oftentimes virtual and free. Another way to look at it, of course, is through their calendar. So the first part, April, so this sort of the deeper dive into professional development, the budget we've received, as well as the print and digital resources. First and foremost, in June, it was very busy after the election. Kirk Linton and I, my colleague, as well as some other supervisors, helped to hire some new people to our team. And so this is our new curriculum team, as well as some supports from the elementary core. So you'll see some familiar faces in there as well. But the 23-24 budget that we received for new curriculum allowed us to support professional development through Kim Goosen's position, 4 to 6 English Language Arts and Literature, Mary Chan for 4 to 6 Math, Jolene Munt for K to 3 Science, and Danielle Gentili for K to 3 Philal. So, of course, we work really closely with the other LS consultants, Shannon Stark from kindergarten, Sheena Bifford in science. You can see her in the picture. She's joined us this week to help out. Jessie Zanatig from math, who's replacing Shelley Gardner, who is here as well, helping us out this week. Kamel Lazubsky for ELAL, Jen Perry for social studies, Suzanne Roloffs for French immersion, and Laura Grulich for Spanish. So you can see lots of new faces in our elementary and new curriculum team this year. So resources, just like last year, the principles that were involved, well, this will be familiar to you. We're looking at addressing those resource gaps first with resources, with the budget we've received. What resources are we going to develop as part of above or enhancing what we currently have? And then looking at equity and teacher and school requests as sort of other buckets. But the first two that we must address first with the budget we've received is looking at those resource gaps and resource development to support what isn't available in schools already. And then we move into those other areas. So for September, here we are now. We can't believe it. We've been back for 2.5 days. We've certainly hit the ground running, and we are excited. We're excited. I'm super excited to have the team together so that we can start building out and brainstorming ways in which to support our schools. So again, we weren't sure we were going to get renewed for season 2, but our NCIS team has been renewed. That comes with good and bad, we know, of course. However, we are thrilled to be able to support schools through curriculum and looking at pedagogy, what is both pedagogically aligned based on research as well as practically aligned for what is needed right now for schools. And so you can see a number of us in there. We've got a few more pictures to add as new members come on board, but we're really excited to be back here for season 2. Not gonna lie, we're feeling a little bit like this. We've opened the door. Monday we came in and we had a move here at St. Paul, so we had a lot of cleaning and organizing to do on Monday, and then Tuesday we took a deep dive in, and one of our consultants pointed out the little girl's still hanging onto her cell phone, so still being able to sort of connect with everyone around us who's reaching out, and please do continue to do that. As we sort of went into sort of day 2, we kind of know where we're sitting. We've got some of our computers set up and cables and whatnot, and now we're looking at this job we have ahead of us. And yeah, a little bit of a fire hose moment, but as any good team does, we are pulling together and we're starting to build a bridge for helping to make some of those connections. And really, we view that as our work in learning services as part of this team, is how can we connect? How can we create connections to alleviate some of that, people falling off of that bridge that's there. So again, we're all sticking together. Everyone's hanging on, and we're making some really good gains on hopefully that teachers and schools will find helpful for getting started in September. Certainly lots of work ahead of us, but looking forward to creating to learn as we go and grow as we go, right? Learn and grow as we go. So our implementation roadmap, we've updated this for this year. Very similar to last year. We continue to look at system-wide communication, various different ways in which to do that. New curriculum implementation support. And so we look internally, of course, to our district consultants, our departments. I know we work really closely with our Indigenous, our ELL, SPED, and our behavior teams, as well as others, our social justice team, our racial equity team. And then we are partnered also with external supports like the RPDC, the CRC, and create connections with other districts who are, we're living this together. Looking at our team, like you, our school engagement team, administrators, this is just you right now, because again, we're really looking to you to kind of like the train the trainer model. You have this information and now you can go forth and share because you know your context best, but really looking forward to that collaboration and the co-creation and your guidance as we move through our learning cycles. Our scope and sequence would continue to build out some ideas, some recommendations for optional use of, again, just creating that bridge. We know some teachers are good to go, but others are going to need a bit more support or be open to and wanting more support. And so we will sort of be responsive and meet you where you're at, both with what is developed as well as our professional growth opportunities moving forward. And finally, you'll see everything will continue to be updated and available, just like this presentation and recording on our EPD site, as well as which is linked into our NCIS site. So our teacher engagement and teacher and school engagement is really, we couldn't do it without you. We're a huge organization and we are a very small team. So really do rely on you as part of our network to move out this messaging and supports into schools. You are the instructional leaders. We recognize that and we acknowledge and appreciate that. We are also here to walk alongside you and guide as best as we can as we learn and navigate the next months moving forward. So I'm thrilled that we have some updates. Our community of practice, last year we had a community practice of principals. Now we have a steering committee. What that means is we have a contact in each of our areas. So a principal contact for each of our areas. So a huge thank you to Leanne, to Joe, Sherry, Marianne, and Denis, who are part of our community of practice for principals this year, as well as looking at our regular program teachers, our community of practice teachers, who, thank you so much, principals, for putting forward your recommendations and for getting those names to us as quickly as possible, because we were able to build out some of our communities of practices in June for teachers. And then our French immersion Spanish bilingual, we're going to continue to build out what that's going to look like for this year. And we'll continue to have working groups established as needed. So in June, believe it or not, we were able to hire new members of our team, as well as get feedback from you as far as our communities of practice teachers. And then we were able to pull together one meeting with each of our 4 to 6 math community practice teachers, our 4 to 6 ELAL community practice teachers, and our K to 3 science community practice teachers. So here's just some pictures I captured during those days in June, and really looking to them for sort of prioritizing what's most important for teachers as we look to implementation. So they did some brainstorming and sharing around that. They looked at some of the scope and sequencing. You can see they've got it out on the big chart paper, as well as working through just, what are the first steps around navigating New Learn Alberta, as well as some of the pedagogy stuff around, what are those big rocks in those curriculum areas, as was previously shared in May and June with you. So our school engagement team rep meetings this year, where it's a little bit different than last year. We're going to do still 5 learning cycles, but we're going to do 3 virtual after school and 2 in person. That's a little bit of a shift. We did the reverse last year, but just given timelines and booking of guest teachers and those things, just space, sometimes we've opted for this approach. Again, this is just a very high level overview. We will be providing more information as we go. So thank you so much to principals. Huge thank you to you and sometimes our VPs and APs who put their name forward to be our reps for this year. You will serve as our key contact and coordinator at the school. So you will be the first one to receive information from us. And then we would ask that you would be, the disseminator as is appropriate or requested in those communications. Our set teacher representatives, that again will be something we'll talk about in September. But for right now, we're really looking to you to be our first contact in schools. So your input is key. Our survey says in June, when we had our final set virtual meeting, we asked, what should we keep, what should we tweak, and what should we ditch? And it comes back again in these three key themes: time, resources, and PG. So for time, we will continue with the guest teacher sign up, as I said, really looking to, we know you had great success with giving that time to teachers, being creative in how you built in collaboration time and use this as a little bit of a way to support that. Looking at resources, thank you for the feedback on the NCIS site. We've kept it. We know that you need some navigating around new curriculum versus old curriculum. All or sorry, old resources versus new resources. All resources will have value. And so it's a matter of, again, curriculum first. So what is it that is going to best serve the teacher meeting those objectives? It may not be the same resource, but it very well could be. So again, starting with those learning outcomes and then saying, now what resources do we have to support that? Again, huge feedback and appreciation for the planning tools that our community of practice and consultants created. So thank you so much. We'll continue to build those up, as well as some resources that you felt were keepers, and then some teacher and school choice within it as well. PG, so we were looking at regular meetings, which again, we've established through our set cycles, our communities of practice. We'll continue to offer it hybrid, online and in person. Really came loud and clear that people wanted getting started with resources to be front and foremost. So that is something that we've built in for this August as best as we could, given our short timeline. And those opportunities for grade level collaboration, but most importantly, being responsive to the teacher and student needs. So resources, both external, we talked about Learn Alberta and ARPDC websites, and then internal, we've built out our EPD to include the NCIS site, and it's in development for 4 to 6 and the K to 3, so that new science, it's new curriculum. So we're in development for that right now. But here's a bit of a sneak peek. So big thank you to Jessie. She's updated all our bubbles, and teachers can click on this bubble again. This is under construction right now, but we are going to continue to have curriculum. So at a glance for sharing with parents, we're updating all of those for grade 4, looking at curriculum documents. So if a teacher doesn't know how to go and navigate with that little printer or forgets, it's going to be linked in here for them. Planning tools and templates, so those long range scope and sequence examples that they can use, the learning outcomes reflection tools, so the toolkits, checklists, so that they can see curriculum sort of on 1 or 2 pages. It's a little less overwhelming. Resources and professional growth. So what happens with resources is, as was requested, and we've been starting to do, is as we acquire resources and consultants get familiar with them, they start creating sort of some recording and overview sort of summary video of it, as well as some getting started. For example, Kim Goosen last year with Words Their Way, which is now called Word Study. She provided a sort of a 20-minute video of how-to for teachers, and then she provided a couple of assessments that were key to getting started. So teachers didn't have to read the 70-page manual. They could get started right away with that resource based on her sort of recommendation or how she would approach it as a teacher. And then we will build out more information around assessments and progress reports as we move forward. One of the big things that we did in May, June is we started to develop transition guides. So you have teachers who are new to a grade in the last year's curriculum or are part of the implementation for this year's new curriculum, is we've sort of provided another bridge for them, another sort of scaffold where we will be developing these transition guides. So if all a teacher has is this in a digital format, they will be able to get started with where is their curriculum, what is their scope and sequence that they could refer to, what resources are available to them, information on how to access those resources, specific to their grade, as well as eventually some templates and assessment and reporting information. So kind of put it all on a one-pager. It's on our Google site right now for last year for ELAL and math, but we're building it out for this year as quickly as we can. We're really hoping we have this done by next week, but keep in mind we are on day 2.5. So we are working very quickly to get this pulled together for teachers for next week. So back to that sort of big goal of, or big area of time. We need time. So we continue to have the guest teachers sign up. Now this is done by the school admin reps. Teachers would not have access to this because this is the way we're coordinating the utilization of guest teachers for our work. And again, I'll share more information with you if you're new to it. I'll provide guidance around how to do it. If you've done it last year, you know the process. It's going to be the same. But this time we're going to do guest teacher sign up right away. So September 11th to October 6th, a school can sign up for their allocated number of guest teachers on specific days that I've outlined in the sign up sheet. I've done it this year. I've done your guest teacher allocations based on essentially school size and number of teachers in each division. So K to 3, I've allocated 30 minutes just based on formula. It's not going to be a perfect science. And then 60 minutes for each 4 to 6 teacher. Understanding that grade 4 to 6 teachers are going to need more time because they're doing 2 new curriculum, and grade 3 are doing 1 new curriculum, with science being that one. So again, just you have the professional judgment in your school to do this however creatively you would like to do it, but that's how I determined equity around the allocation of those guest teachers to your for your school. It's to be determined if I'm going to be able to do this for November and December and May and June, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do it similar to last year. And the school will decide how best to use this time. Some of you were really creative. You used it as part of a PLC time. You had your DLs help to support so you could get more teachers together. Some of you just gave it to your teachers so that they could just have time. All of that is fine. You have autonomy in your school as instructional leaders to decide how to utilize this time best. So please do know that you have our blessing, as well as please let us know if we can help strategize or support you in designing that. For you, DLTs, it's really about you. It's your time to do that with your school to provide the opportunities for collaboration on new curriculum implementation supports. Please do note, as you saw by that picture, our consultants, most of them are brand new to the role. So we certainly have a lot to do, a lot of learning ahead of us. But we will, as soon as we can, we'll get out to being able to directly support schools, but that will take us some time. And we're thinking strategically of how can we provide supports in a way that many schools can come together to utilize our small team. So we're revisioning how we can best support schools because with 98 schools, again, it's very difficult for one consultant to come out to serve one school when we've got many, many schools. So we're revisioning that and we'll provide more information as we go forward. But please, if you need direct support, contact me. I'm more than happy to work through and strategize how we can support that. And even myself or Kirk, we're more than happy to come out and help you as well. So the learning journey. We recognize that for teachers and school leaders alike, it is a challenge. Like we know that we're embarking on something new. Some of us have been in the pit for a bit last year and we've climbed out and we're super excited with all our successes. But some of our teachers and some of you'll be brand new to this. So it does require a bit of a leap of faith. Where you're going to just jump into the pit with us and we're going to kind of navigate and support one another. And we know that there's no direct line. There's many pathways in which to move forward with curriculum at any time. And if you're new to a grade, you're navigating this all the time anyway. So it's not something new to teachers or assistant principals or vice principals or principals. We know from year to year, we don't know what we're teaching. And so we recognize that it's going to take some time to navigate it. But we really recognize that you set the tone and the pace for your school. And so thinking yourself, like, where are you in this? Where are you in this learning journey? Where are your teachers? What is their context and their readiness? It's a lot to ask, so maybe minimizing new initiatives in other ways, even though they're near and dear to our hearts. Are they really, they're important, but are they absolutely necessary right now or essential? Can we pause a bit on some things we're doing? Those are decisions we know you have to make all the time. And the big thing, I guess, this quote I came across is, yes, we need to have a little bit of time to be validated that there's a lot happening at once, the very short timeline, but we can't spend all our time beating on a wall if we're hoping to transform it into a door. And so just being mindful that something as simple as creating space in a staff meeting to say, we're going to spend 5 minutes just quickly sharing your groups or division, what's working with new curriculum, what are you learning, what are you, challenging, what's challenging within their control, and then what are some next best steps? And then you kind of can be that guide along the side, but giving them that space. You don't have to know everything. We don't expect teachers to know everything, but creating a little bit of space and time for them to really productively think about where they're at with new curriculum can be very helpful. We know that resources, a big thing we get is, I just want the textbook and I want to walk through it. Why can't we just do that? Well, we know that's number one, not good pedagogy. Number two, we know that that's just not available anymore. But there is a paradigm shift that needs to happen. And really, it's curriculum first, resources second. So we are guided by curriculum, and then teachers have the autonomy, the professional judgment, as well as the consideration of the local context to influence what their decision is going to be of which resources are used. And that goes to point of the school, at a school level, what you're choosing to use with the resources you already have, with the resources that we are providing this year. But then there'll be others that you'll find and you'll say, I think this is going to work better, or do we have an option, and bringing that to our attention so we can help you navigate those things as well. But curriculum is not something we can buy. So the resources are something that you retrofit into the curriculum teaching and learning piece. We are guided by some specific requirements by Alberta Education. Is it curricularly aligned? Is it developmentally appropriate? What is the student experience? Is it engaging? Is it culturally responsive? Is it looking at inclusion and accessibility for our students and teachers? So we have some updates. This is familiar to you on our new curriculum implementation site. We have on the homepage the resources from last year, just to remind you that's where it's at, where they're at. And a huge, huge, huge thanks to Lizette and her team, as well as IMC personnel who have been instrumental in helping us, not just ordering resources, but then getting them distributed out to schools. That does take time. But we are mindful of the work that's happening at a district level to support the success of the implementation. In addition to our Learning Commons librarians, who we know have to catalog a lot of those print resources that come in, and so the guidance of our IMC leaders who help to support that. I'm going to pass it over to Kim, who's going to talk about the resources we've purchased for ELAL.
Thank you, Dr. Lynn. So Kimberly Guston, I'm very excited to be back again this year for the 4 to 6 new curriculum. I'm going to start off with our digital licenses. So we have a renewal for the Kindergarten Haggerty Hub. Teachers may notice it has been an update over the summer, so it might look a little bit different. I find it very user-friendly and actually great updates for that hub. Please note that we heard last year a lot of teachers wanted access to the pre-kindergarten curriculum. They have access to all of the Haggerty hubs, so all of those curriculums. So do let them know that they have that. For our grade 1 to 3 teachers, we will be renewing that Reading A to Z platform. Again, this is a teacher platform to really help with that comprehensive literacy program. And then for our 4 to 6, we have purchased the Nelson Edwin platform. It's really exciting. We have actually going to have a set admin rep. So all of you are going to be having an account as well, just so that you can be that leader in the school, and you will be able to see that platform and help your teachers along the way. Right now we have 5 and 6 available, and grade 4, it will be phased in as we get updates. In terms of our print, now last year we did purchase the Words Their Way program, so the teacher manual and the 3 book sorts. It is now called Word Study, and we've purchased the additional sort called the Derivational Relations for our grade 4 to 6 teachers. A wonderful program that all your grade 1 to grade 6 teachers could use, ideally 3 to 6, of course. We are going to have at least 1 or maybe 2 at each school, just depending on that size. And then for our grade 4, 5, and 6 teachers, we have also purchased the Barbara Mariconda writing guides. So that's the narrative and the opinion and expository guides. So there will be 1 per grade level per school. And then again, there may be some additional purchase for schools depending on size. As well as we look to further future considerations, a big portion of our new curriculum for 4 to 6, that difference is that word morphology. And so we're looking at purchasing some morphology kits that will kind of help with that, as well as we'll have plenty of PG to help with our teachers and support them in this new area of the curriculum. I am now going to pass it on to Mary to give you some math updates.
Hello there. Okay, so we've been really busy working with our new resources that we've purchased. So Dreambox Math for our Spanish bilingual schools. We have a 1-year renewal for grades 1 to 3, and then we've also purchased it for grades 4 to 6 going forward. The Mathia Adventure, so Zorbits, which you may remember from K to 3, has now been has a new platform, Mathia. And so Zorbits will still be K to 3, but also we'll have Mathstoria 4 to 6. And last year we had said that it was only going to be for 1 year, but we've managed to repurchase it for K to 6 for 3 years. And that's a resource we have in English and in French. And then we have our mathology.ca and Mathologie. So that is also 3 years. So for grade 1 to 3, it is a choice going forward this year. And then for grade 4 to 6, we do have a 3-year purchase, and that is also English and French. And then so for 1 to 3, schools can decide if they would like to continue with that, purchasing that themselves. And then for our print resources, we're very excited. We have grade 3 to 6 is going to have a Mathology student workbook. There will be 1 per student, only in English, unfortunately, at this time. And those have come in, so we're going to try and get those out to schools as soon as possible in early September. And then we have also there's a K to 3 and a 4 to 9 math learning progression guide, which is going to come in for 1 for every grade 1 to 6 teacher. And then we've also managed to get grade 4 to 6 are going to receive erasable mini whiteboards with a marker and an eraser, and that's going to be 1 per student as well. Those haven't come in yet. And then future considerations, we're looking at the possibility of purchasing some math manipulatives. We are trying to arrange some PG sessions with boxcars and one-eye jacks. So we're looking at things like their dice that they have available there. And that is it for math. I'm going to pass it over to Jolene for science.
Thank you, Mary. Hello, everyone. We would just like to let you know that we have K to 3 snippets for science. Those are from the Edmonton Public School Board. The 4 Metro boards have been developing these resources for K to 6, and they can be found on our NCIS Google site as well as on the Learn Alberta website. For print, we're happy to report that every student, K to 3, will be getting a sketchbook or journal. Those should be arriving at your school soon. And then future considerations, we're looking at ordering some science materials and just getting all the schools up to date on some of those, as Lynn mentioned earlier, the harder to find supplies. So there will be an order form coming out, and you can let us know what your school will require, as well as adding to the Wonder Wagons that were purchased last year to help support the science curriculum as well. I will pass it on to Danielle for French.
Good morning, welcome back. Digital licenses for Falau. We just got confirmation today that Décodable, les éditions Passe-Temps, Niveau 1 à 6 was shipped today. So it should be arriving shortly and we should be getting them out. A neat thing, a digital lifetime purchase with each kit. So the schools will all receive that. For print, Décodable, les éditions Passe-Temps. What was I going to say about this? Oh, levels 1 to 3 are shipped today. 4 to 6 will be in the middle of September, hopefully. And we'll be downloading the PDF to get that out to the schools shortly. Scholastic Décodable complete kits. We got a chance to see those in English last year. And so that is also something that we're looking forward to receiving 80 titles with 4 copies of each. They will be arriving in 4 different shipments. So the first one is scheduled for the end of August, and hopefully by winter, we should have all 4 shipments complete. And then future considerations to be determined. We're looking forward to setting up our COP teams and our SET teams so that we can work together to see what our needs are.
Thank you so much to our new NCIS team. And Kim, of course, who is on second year here, for helping to support our decisions in collaboration with our communities of practice. So thank you so much. So what we need from you, our Google form will be coming out to you soon by the end of this week, just to the SET admin reps. And I may just for this time also send it out to the principals as well, because I know there's some admin that aren't in this week. But what we need, the sooner we get this information from your school, the sooner we can get, we will be working frantically to get the all those digital licenses set up. It is a manual process, and again, we will work as fast as we can, but we do just recognize there's a lot of you. But if you could please get us that information as soon as possible, we will get going on those licenses right away. We'll need a staff list, so I'll need your teacher name by subject taught with the correct email addresses, because that's what the publisher will use to send the notification to activate the teacher license. So it's really important those email addresses are correct. Number of students by grade in each school. So this is for the science journals, the blank journals. I more just need a number for that, but this will be in the form. And then for the English schools, to send out the workbooks for methodology workbooks, we will need to know the number of students. So we'll be asking for some information specific. We just ask that you please don't add student numbers to that information, because we've only purchased based on what's currently enrolled in the school, in the district. So please make sure you're as close as you can to what you either think or is within your school as far as student numbers go. We recognize there's going to be changes. We had this happen last year, so we'll sort of address those as we go, as far as new teachers change grades, subjects, new students leaving, those types of things. If it's and then coming soon, we're looking at a science equipment order form to update some of those science kits. Again, for some of those hard to find items, as well as SET admin rep section. I know this can be a lot to just look in your emails to find things, so I will create a SET admin rep section in our NCIS site. And it will be password protected, so only if you've been identified as your school's contact will you have access to those files, like your guest teacher sign up, schedule, the information we're sharing out to you, like the link to this Google form. So just so you can come in to get this information, not have to scroll through emails. And then just a reminder, we'll get that schedule set up for signing up for when you'd like your allocated guest teachers. So information will all be coming. PG opportunities, we know in the next week, we have a couple days in the afternoon, the 30th and the 31st. We're going to focus a lot on just a brief overview, those transition guides, but then we're going to dig right into, we've been fortunate enough to be able to get some of the representatives for these resources, the big ones, to come in and give live sessions for teachers to get them started with the resources. And then looking at, they'll be recorded for anyone that can't attend. They'll be able to do that. There'll be subject-specific resources, PLCs, school visits as the year progresses. So we'll continue to build out as we did this year. Here's a very high-level overview of PD. This will be all in the email we send you by the end of this week, or this one will be sent at the end of Monday. The days are getting shorter and shorter, but we will provide this information about the 30th and 31st. But you can see from a high-level overview, it's a bit trickier to coordinate because we've got core subjects happening in both K-3 and 4-6. So the way that we're visioning this out is on August 30th, there'll be K-3 science will be the focus. And then for 4-6, it'll be 4-6 ELAL. And for August 31st, it will be some updates, some refreshers, some reminders about what is available, but also what is new. And then looking at the math for our 4-6. So the big question we get is, what do we need to do to prepare this year? We're hoping to keep it minimal. So what we'd ask for you to do is just think about how are you going to group your teachers. So you're create, like last year, you might have everybody attend in the same location. That won't work this year. So you'll want your teachers grouped by division or by grade level groupings, and they'll need the projector and the loft board and speakers. So that's number one. You want to sort of divide them in two different places, maybe the gym and the learning commons, but K-3 and 4-6 need to be in separate areas. And then look at teachers will need to bring their laptop and a highlighter. Those are the two things they need to bring, but please don't let them show up without their laptop, because especially our 4-6s, they're going to need to be able to follow along with navigating some of those new things like the new Learn Alberta or the information that's shared with the presenters. And then finally, we will be asking for teachers to have a printout of the new curriculum for K-3 science and PLAL and the 4-6 ELAL and math. And we will link those directly to the guide that's coming out on Monday. So that'll give you the Tuesday to kind of get things printed out for the teachers, and then they'll be ready to go for the 30th and 31st. Again, we'll make it really easy and for you to access those, so don't worry about having to go and navigate New Learn Alberta or anything. And so at this point, I just want to remind you, just keep calm. Check your inbox. I know I shared a lot of information with you today. It'll be a lot like that fire hose for the first little bit, but then we'll start to settle into the pit together as we start to kind of find our ways through navigating the reality that we're in. And it is really important. We saw this come to fruition last year. Every step we took, the path became a bit clearer, but it was because we took time to smell the roses along our way. Now, I just heard that Brian has entered the room. So hi, Brian. If you'd like to, at this point, we were just finishing up. I do have just perfect timing because I have some reminders of the key messages. So Brian, I've already sort of shared details around the Power of 5, but did you want to say a few words before we close up?
I sure do. And thank you, Lynn. In fact, I've been here for most of the session. I came about 5 minutes late, and it's been amazing. And I want to begin today by, first of all, our faith theme as we launch this year is thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. And I want to give thanks today to Lynn, the entire NCIS team, the SET team, and all of the work that our leaders are doing in preparation for onboarding a new curriculum. And I love these key messages that Lynn moved forward with last year, and I think they're most appropriate this year too, is that as district leaders, we're the people that need to bring the calmness. We know that there'll be some people that will be all panicked and on the edge, that they have all this new curriculum. But as trained professionals, teachers, we're given different curriculum opportunities throughout our careers. Sometimes a teacher may move from one grade level to the next, and guess what? They're faced with a whole new curriculum, learning outcomes and objectives that they need to teach. And so this is just another way of looking at it. And so I love the first point here that we're all professionals. We got this. These things are mandated, so there's no point whining about it. It's already, the decision's been made. The province is moving in this direction, and we're going to follow. And a big chunk of the curriculum has stayed the same. Like there's a lot of things like addition. Guess what? It was in the old math curriculum. Guess what? It's in a new one, right? And so it's how we position it with our staff. And I know last year, based upon last year's success, it was a combination of Lynn, her team, and you guys at the school level that did such an amazing job of calming the storm, supporting your teachers. And our teachers in Calgary Catholic are supported in so many different ways. Obviously, we have this amazing team of consultants, and welcome to all of our new consultants. And you spoke beautifully today, and I hope you enjoy the year. There'll be ups and downs and turns and corners, but you're going to do a great job. And to know that there's these people that are here to support you, so you're never alone. Whether you're a district leader or a teacher, you can always reach out to them. We have the EPD site that the team has been working on and enhancing, and that one slide that Lynn's team shared, where you can go and whatever grade 4, and click on the button, and there you're going to find the curriculum, and click on another button, and there you're going to find some of the resources, and then feedback for assessment. Like all of this, we're trying to do to help you support your teachers as we go forward. More support will come in the PG days that Lynn has also offering through that formula to your school. And then obviously the purchasing of digital and print. And you heard Lynn say that we are at a pivotal point in education where we're moving more from print to digital, and you're going to see our teachers will have access to many different digital platforms. And you heard in kindergarten, I think it was called Hegarty, and you have Reading A to Z's been around, and then you have this new Nelson platform as well that we've been playing around with. So all of these things will help our teachers navigate the new world of education. And that's being combined with, as a school district, we are also increasing the number of schools that are moving forward with one-to-one technology at the grade 6 and grade 9 level. I think going into this year, we have well over 20 schools that are part of this project, and we hope to expand it so that all grade 6 teachers will have one-to-one technology in their classroom, and all grade 9 teachers, and obviously those are our PAT exam subject grade levels. But just know that I think it's our job as leaders to let teachers know that there is no more textbook to teach the curriculum. The curriculum is the curriculum. That's where we start from. And we know there's many different digital and print tools out there to help us achieve it. So I can't be any more delighted with the work of the team, the work that's going on in the schools. I also want to thank Helmut Kaiser, our director in teaching and learning, for all of his support of Lynn and the team. John McDonald is also a crucial part of the work that we're doing here. And so God bless everyone as we embark on this journey together. I'm looking forward to another great year of implementing curriculum. I know that for the principals that are part of this call, we have our first SLC meeting planned for Monday. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you then. And with that, I want to thank you and pass it back to Lynn.
Thanks so much, Brian, for joining us and taking the time to share the power of 5 and your thinking around it as well, because this is a big thing we're asking, but it's the work. This is the work of teaching and learning. And so I just really appreciate you being here and reminding us about those key messages, because they really are important to recognize and acknowledge as we move forward. So thank you so much. We have just a couple more here to go through. And then I will address the question about JUMP resources. I know there's been a few questions in the chat, but I will stay on at the end for those schools that it's applicable to. I know not everybody chose it last year for their K-3, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about the ins and outs of it for 4 to 6. So if you need help, you have questions, you can't find something, please do email us, newcurriculum@csd.ab.ca, or email me directly. That's fine too. You've got my email, or any of the consultants. So this again will be posted on our NCIS site, as well as emailed to all of you who received this invitation as well. And we've got this. So before we go, I just ask, please, just as before, we really do go through your feedback with a fine-tooth comb. Every time I know I get you to do a Menti or send me a survey, but really that was the guide that was given to us. Even when it came to decisions around next steps and resources, like I went back to the survey that it explained exactly what you thought we should, keep, toss, and tweak. We went through that and looked at the different things in the feedback given, as well as for next steps and ideas you gave us around the resources and what to look for or what we can continue to look at. So please, your feedback matters. And while this is happening, I'm going to address the question of jump math. So with the 4 to 6 jump math, one of the things that we know is that Learn Alberta has procured a provincial license for the jump math resource. So teachers have access to the digital teacher manuals. They have access to starting points lessons, so Blackline Masters for lessons. That is all currently paid for and procured through through Alberta Education, and that's currently available again if teachers have gotten an account and unlocked the resource. They now have access to that resource. Last year, when we decided to go forward, we were able to provide the student practice and assessment books because they were being offered at a very significant discount of 50% off. Each of those books is $16. You need 2 books, and it's much, much more than a student needs to have. We've discovered it's not directly aligned, so there's a lot of alignment that needs to happen yet with that. And then the other piece to it is now it's being offered at 25% discount. And so we can kind of see this slippery slope. So at full price, those books are $32 a student. And then you look at it at 50% off, it was still $16, but now it's $24 a student. That's an awful lot of money to be spending on a resource that you're only going to use about a third of it, if even. So what we thought we would do, again, we're just new into this. We have purchased the Mathology.ca platform because it is better aligned. It is more easily differentiated for students, and it's visual. And it creates, again, it's connected to those Mathology little books that we purchased. Having said that, we respect school decisions, and we know some of these are bigger than what we have understanding of. Having said that, the resources that are available on New Learn Alberta are there for you to use. Again, they were purchased by the government for you to use, for teachers to use. But we would be moving forward with looking at the Mathology, which we have purchased for you. It's more closely aligned and connected to the curriculum, which is what we first looked at as our decision. And it's a fraction of the cost as well. And I know we don't want cost to always be the driver, but with our Mathology 3-year license, we received those books for just over $7 a piece. So $7 versus $24, it's more aligned. The other really good thing about it is we have requested, and we hope that this cycle of books has it. It doesn't include grade on the book. That was an issue we had from an inclusion perspective. We don't want a student who's working at a grade 3 level and they're in grade 6 to feel that they're not able to work at their grade level. We want them to know they have to be differentiated for that they're working at different outcomes, but at the same time, we don't want that to be so visible for them, just for their own sort of, looking at them as individuals. So we had a lot of decisions with those guiding principles as to why we weren't going to be purchasing those jump math student practice and assessment books for grades 4 to 6. You will be receiving the 3 to 6 Mathology books. You'll be receiving the licenses. And what we will do is commit to working with any of the schools that are really wanting to move forward with jump in 4 to 6, because we do need to do some alignment work. And pulling out from what the government has provided, what can we create a little booklet of a practice and assessment book that's more closely aligned so that you're not wasting so much. And it's, again, not overwhelming for the students or the parents who aren't completing it. And then we don't, at this point, Spanish schools, I'll be meeting with French immersion and Spanish schools. I'll be sending out an invite for tomorrow or Friday to talk a little bit more specifically around the language schools, because we know there's some specific questions for you as well that we'll want to chat about. And Sheena, were there any other questions in the chat? No. Awesome. Excellent. Thanks so much, everyone. Remember, like the little girl hanging onto the door, I've got my cell phone in my hand. I'm only a call away, a phone call away or an email away. So please, you are not bothering us. We are in this together, and please know that we will continue to walk alongside and be guided by what we learn as we go. Thanks so much, everyone. And thanks again, Brian, for joining us and sharing some comments with us. Bye, everyone.